Welcome, my friends. It is a week of solo parenting this week as my wife and my daughter are having an adventure in Paris. Not Paris, Texas, Paris, France, where the Tower of Eiffel is. And they're having a grand time there. They happen to be there at the same time that it is Fashion Week in Paris, which wasn't planned, but is kind of a cool thing that just happened. So they've been seeing models kind of wandering around and photo shoots happening, and they've been going to all the museums. They spent a day at Euro Disney. They've just been having an amazing, amazing time. And while they are gone, my son and I are getting the opportunity to bond more and to have some bro time, if you will, hang out, lift weights, eat food, do the homework stuff, like do all the regular things, but also just have time, just us. And I've just been so appreciating spending time with him and having that one-on-one time. So great to be together as a family, but also so wonderful to have the opportunity when you're a parent to just have time maybe with one of the kiddos, solo parenting. And it's just a really fun experience. So I've been enjoying that this week. And I've also been working on Q4. This is the last quarter of the year for my business. We do the calendar year. And I had some really big goals at the beginning of this year. And for all of them to be realized, this fourth quarter, we need to close out some business. And there have been some ups and downs. If you are a business owner as well, or an entrepreneur, you know of what I speak right now. Because with these whispers of recessions going on and layoffs happening and people cutting budgets, and it's been a bit of a roller coaster these last 4 months or so. And so there's been some adjustments that have needed to happen. And that might be happening in your business as well. And so over the next few weeks, especially, what I'd like to do and use this podcast for is to help you with some tools that help us in our business and that we also teach our clients. So I'm actually going to be giving you some of the stuff that people like Microsoft and SAP and these big companies give us lots of money for in order to teach their sales and pre-sales and customer support teams how to tell more engaging demos and sales stories. And so I'm going to give you digestible nuggets that are easy to understand and immediately actionable. Because I know that in this last quarter, many of you are going to want to concentrate on doing this stuff as well and closing out more business. And so I'm going to give you specific stories that you can tell in your marketing, in your sales, in presentations you might be giving, in leadership presentations, keynote speeches, sales kickoffs, all kinds of things that might be going on for you, and even planning for next year and communicating to your team how to tell a powerful story and a structure that's really easy to do. So we, in our Story Teams courses, teach a structure called T3, Tease Tell Told. And it's a very broad structure that's based off of Greek storytelling, which is tell, tell, tell. Tell your audience what you're going to tell them, and then tell them what you just told them with a strong call to action. Ours is called Tease Tell Told, and we have a specific reason that we do that. It's very effective for helping people, specifically in the technology sector and in business, be able to tell engaging sales, marketing, and customer support stories. Now, there's a flavor of all kinds of different kinds of stories that you can tell, and some of them will resonate with you more powerfully than others. But there's one that I have found works in lots of different situations, and most people find pretty easy to do because it has to do with their own personal life, and they can bring in their authentic self to it very easily. So we're going to talk about a repeatable sales story that you can use for a company-wide meeting, presentations, closing sales season, all this stuff. Now, I was reminded of this structure by one of the coaches that I follow. Her name is Corinne Crabtree, and she's an amazing woman, and she has a very large and thriving business. And I was reminded of this structure because she did this actually on one of her coaching calls recently. And I was like, oh my gosh, I forgot how simple and effective this structure is. And so I would like to share it with you as well. Now, this is important because it's Q4, and it's simultaneously time to close out your sales goals for the year and ideally be sorting out the vision for next year's goals as well, right? because you're closing out your goals for this year, but you also want to have an eye towards what you want to do for next year. And so you're going to need to communicate that to possibly your team or to yourself to get clear on what you want to do. And you might need to go ahead and present that. Now, if you're coming up with a TED style talk that you want to do, a presentation, this also works beautifully as well. In fact, I used this very same structure in a presentation several years ago, and it was really, really effective. Because it also works when you're called in the spur of the moment to get up in front of a crowd and to present, whether you're remotely or whether you're doing it in person. So nothing can be more anxiety inducing to a lot of people than public speaking. It's rated right up there when they're asked to rate the most stressful situations in their life, like the loss of a job, the loss of a loved one, and public speaking is always in the top 4 or 5. Crazy, right? And so knowing this structure and having it in your pocket is a great way for you to never feel like you're caught out and for you to be able to get up and confidently be able to tell a compelling story from stage. In fact, I was at a large industry coaching event, like a business mastermind type event. And the presenter on stage was talking to this room full of people. There were at least 1,000 of us there. And they were talking about the fact that, hey, a lot of your videos and a lot of your video content is not up to par. And that's why some of your sales and your marketing isn't thriving. And I raised my hand and said, hey, own a production studio, happy to give people some tips if they'd like, in the hallway or whatever, thinking that I'd have a small group of people that maybe could use this information or something like that if it was really an issue. And this person, her name's Brooke Castillo, actually. She's a fairly famous coach. She said from the stage, and the way that she does, she's like, oh, great. As soon as I'm done, Aaron, come up on stage and I want you to tell everyone how to stop sucking making videos. So I went from raising my hand and thinking like I was going to talk to 10 people, like in a side hallway afterwards, to all of a sudden, like I need to be up on the stage that she's on with the microphone in T- however much time till the end of the session. So I used this very same structure in order to do that. And I got up and I was able to successfully help people, give them some tips on how to look and feel more confident on camera and make some better videos and, just get them out of overwhelm and give them some pro tips to get them unstuck and keep moving forward. And so I know that this structure works because that is the exact structure that I used in that very moment in order to not panic that I had to get up on stage and I had to pull something out of my butt at the very, very last moment. So I know that this works in the real world. So if I can do that in that kind of situation, I know that you can do it too. So it works in the spur of the moment, and it works when you're planning out a presentation or a demo or a sales call or a conversation you're going to have well in advance. So I'm going to give that to you right now. I said I was going to keep this simple and actionable, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. There are only 4 parts to this story structure. So the overall story structure, if we were doing a large story structure, you'd start off with a hook. And that's kind of what we're doing here. So the first thing that I want you to think about, and write this down. I'll also try to have it in the notes. But there's just 4 steps. 4 steps. It's like fill in the blank. Number 1 is, let's talk about. That's it. So you're going to start with, let's talk about zebras. Whatever it is. For me, it was, let's talk about feeling more confident on camera and making great videos. Simple, concise statement. Everyone knows that if they're listening, this is what we are talking about right now. Then the second part is, this is important because if your audience's brain doesn't already know why this is going to help them, right at the beginning, their brain is going to find something else more interesting to concentrate on. We're just humans. That is the way that our monkey brains work. So you need to give them a justification, a reason why there is something in this for them that will make their life better right now or solve some pain for them that they need. So this is important because. So we have, let's talk about, you say the thing. This is important because that way you get their brain to listen to you and to stay listening for this amount of time. Then go into a personal story. So the thing that you want to talk about, the topic you want to talk about, the thing you're selling, the thing you're coaching on, the thing that you're telling your team about, how can you relate it to a personal story, something that happened in your own life that, almost like an analogy, is like what you're about to tell them about and why they should care? So what has happened in your own life or in the life of a friend, use a personal story. If it's humorous, bonus points. We love hearing kind of a humorous story. Or it might even be a story about how you screwed something up. And if you had just known how to do it this way that you're about to tell them, it would have been so much better. We love failure stories where it gets solved at the end. Okay? So we've done the first three now. Let's talk about say the thing. This is important because give them a reason why they should care and keep listening. Tell a personal story. And those are great because, seriously, even if it's a little embarrassing to you, it's even better. That will make it a vulnerability situation. Your audience will love it. They'll eat it up, okay? And then end it with step 4. You can do it too, and here's why. Pump them up. Pump your audience up. They can do it as well. If they take your course, if they buy your product, if they engage with you with your services, you're going to help them be successful in this way. And here's why. Give them some proof points. What other customers have you helped with this in the past that might be similar to them? What other ways have you delivered this in the past? Or what other things have you done where you've helped other people be successful? Kind of like a credibility indicator. And that's it. That's the 4 steps. Number 1, let's talk about. Number 2, this is important because do your personal story for step 3. If it's the more vulnerable you can be, the better. I'm telling you right now. And you can do it too, and here's why. That's it. So use this structure when you're getting ready for your next keynote, when you're getting ready to present at a conference, when you are called up in front of your team at the last moment to present on something. This is a great go-to structure that is fairly bulletproof and tends to delight your audience and entertain them at the same time because we love hearing personal stories. We love being able to get to know you a little bit and have you be vulnerable. It makes us trust you more faster, which is kind of perfect in sales situations, right? Especially in Q4 when you're trying to close more deals. So use that. Use that as sales kickoff. You just have that structure for yourself. If you have to quickly get up and talk about something, pull out your phone, write those 4 things down, and just fill out a couple bullet points under each one about what you're going to do and refer to it, and you will be off to the races. So that's all you need to do there. All right. So that's what I have for you this week. Like I said, I'm going to make these next few podcasts about storytelling in easily consumable bites that you can use something right away to help you in this Q4, to help you close out deals, to help you with presentations or things that you might need to do with sales calls, things like that. Oh, and by the way, I used this very same structure on you just now for this podcast. So it works on podcasts too, or on vodcasts, or on videos that you're making, or in coaching sessions that you're doing. I told you, let's talk about, I use the exact same phrases, a repeatable sales story structure. I told you that this was important because it's Q4. I told you a story about me having to get up on stage and doing it at the last moment. And then I told you that you could do it too, and that I was going to give you 4 easy steps in order to do it. So I just got super meta on you in the way that I delivered this as well. Haha. All right. That's all for this week. I will talk to you next week, my friends.